Modern work culture operates on a specific assumption that the only way to get ahead is to never stop. We are conditioned to believe that any moment not spent producing is a moment wasted, making perpetual motion the only acceptable state. This creates a psychological trap. Because we view a pause as a failure, we don't actually recover. Instead, we treat downtime like a secret we have to hide, feeling a constant undercurrent of guilt the moment we step away from our screens. This chart shows the cycle of digital purgatory. When you're too exhausted to work but too guilty to sleep, you settle for empty stimulation, like mindlessly scrolling through social media. This doesn't recharge you. It keeps your brain in a state of low-level tension, which feeds directly back into your fatigue. Eventually, the system hits a breaking point. If you wake up feeling heavier than when you went to bed, you didn't experience restorative sleep. Your brain essentially forced a hard reboot after a crash, doing the bare minimum to keep the lights on. The results of this deficit show up in your daily performance. A fried nervous system loses the ability to filter. You become reactive, your memory slips, and you start treating a minor correction from a colleague like a full-blown crisis. Operating in this state doesn't make you a high performer. It means you are burning maximum fuel to move an inch, sacrificing your judgment for the sake of looking busy. There is a practical reason why constant effort fails, illustrated by an old story of a woodcutting contest. A young challenger took on a veteran lumberjack to see who could chop the most wood between sunrise and sunset. The young woodcutter used a brute force strategy. He swung his axe continuously, refusing to stop for food or water, convinced that every second spent not swinging was a second lost to his opponent. But every hour he noticed the older man sitting down. To the young man, this looked like laziness. The veteran was just sitting there, appearing to waste the very time he needed to win. At the end of the day, the wood was weighed. Despite taking frequent breaks, the older man had chopped significantly more than the man who never stopped. When asked how he did it, the veteran explained, "Every time I sat down, I was sharpening my axe." The young man was working harder, but he was swinging a piece of dull metal. This is the mechanical reality of rest. It isn't the opposite of work. It is the maintenance required to make the work effective. Biology treats rest as a survival necessity. An apex predator like a lion rests for the majority of the day because it understands that its survival depends on being explosive when it matters. It doesn't experience shame for being still. True recovery is more than just stopping your work. It is the proactive presence of peace. It's about creating an environment where your nervous system can actually descend from its state of high alert. This requires specific, daily boundaries. It means silencing digital notifications, walking without the distraction of a podcast, or letting the laundry wait so you can sit in silence for 15 minutes. The most difficult part of this is the social boundary, learning to say no to a request without providing a long list of excuses. Protecting your time is a functional requirement for your health, not a favor you need to justify to others. When you honor these limits, you aren't being soft. You are building a protective perimeter around your focus, ensuring your mind remains a sharp tool rather than a worn-out resource. When you prioritize proactive rest, you begin to see a return on that investment. The mental fog clears, your heart rate variability improves, and your brain regains the ability to process complex information without feeling overwhelmed. You stop reacting out of survival mode. Instead of being jerked around by every email or comment, you start responding with a calm, deliberate logic. You move from being a passenger to being in control of your own focus. You stop snapping at your partner over nothing, forgetting where you put your keys, or losing hours of your day to nonsense. You become you again. This level of clarity makes you much harder to derail. When you aren't running on fumes, you have the energy to stick to your priorities and the presence of mind to ignore the noise that distracts everyone else. This is how rest makes you effective. A well-rested mind is resilient against burnout because it recognizes the signs early. It is resistant to people-pleasing because it has the clarity to maintain its own boundaries. You become a person who can't be easily exhausted or manipulated by the grind. Go sharpen your axe. Take the time to recover deeply. Because the version of you that is fully charged is the only one capable of actually changing your reality.